Good evening. This is the February 27th, 2025 Villa Park Bike Pedestrian Transit Advisory Subcommittee meeting. The time is 6:05 p.m. Commissioner Greco, could you please call the roll?
All right. Commissioner Amore?
Here.
Commissioner Leishman?
Present.
Commissioner Wagner is not in attendance. Commissioner Greco is me, so I'm here.
So we have a quorum.
Roll is called.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 2, public comments. We do have a member of the public with us tonight. Do you have any comments you'd like to make?
No.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, amendments to the agenda. Are there any proposed amendments to the agenda tonight?
I have none.
None.
Okay. Then we'll move on to item 4, approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our January meeting?
Has anybody had a second set of eyes on it?
I have read the minutes, but I was not in attendance at our last meeting, so I do not really feel comfortable making that motion. So
I'll make the motion.
Oh, okay, because I thought you wanted to review it.
we can table it till next month.
I can forgo the reading.
Well,
To
I have two
approve.
options we can do here. We can postpone this until the end of the meeting to see if Mr. Wagner arrives.
That's fine.
Sure.
All right,
Or we can let Joe make the motion allowing for minor typographical errors being fixed.
Lots of options. And people are allowed to make motions for whatever they like.
Or you can just leave it, make
So,
a motion as stands.
let's go back to amendments of the agenda. Let's amend the agenda to put in approval minutes at new item 8.
Okay.
Okay, so JA moves to move minutes.
And there's Mr. Wagner.
Okay, so do you want to withdraw that motion?
I'll withdraw that. Thank you. I'm going to leave the little 8-hour group here in case we need to find something else.
Okay, Commissioner Wagner has just arrived.
All right. Item 4, approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our January meeting?
Bob, we're counting on you for this one.
Did you read the minutes, Bob?
I did. Is there something I should know about that? Or
No, we just wanted to make sure
I
a second
didn't
set of
bring my
eyes have
copy.
reviewed them.
I didn't bring
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all right, so Joe Amore motioned.
And allow us to introduce Steve Corona, our guest.
Pardon me?
Second
Steve
by
Corona.
RW.
Our visitor.
What's your name?
Steve.
Steve Corona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to have the vote.
We still have to vote?
Yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
Favor?
we have a first and a second.
Yeah. All right. All those in favor of
Aye.
approving the minutes?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passed.
Sure.
The minutes are approved. All right. Getting into our business items. Item 5A, Project Sidewalk. So for a brief summary for the public that is here, Project Sidewalk is a program that is organized by University of Chicago. It's a bit of software online. You can go on Google and search for Project Sidewalk and it'll take you to their website. It basically allows you to use Google Street View data to flag sidewalk quality issues and whether that's cracks or discontinuities. And you can also flag where there's like a missing crosswalk, stuff like that. And so Villa Park was just recently added to Project Sidewalk, so you can go on there and start reviewing our streets and flagging issues that you see. And we have a goal as a subcommittee of organizing what's called a mapathon sometime this spring to get a large group of people together and hopefully map out a good chunk of town. So we can really have a good survey of what sidewalk issues there are around town. And so we're kind of in the early stages of that. that we're working with the Active Transportation Alliance, which is a nonprofit based out of Chicago, and they're doing some training of how to use Project Sidewalk and organize a mapathon. And so I attended some trainings for that back in January and early February. And so I have started mapping out some of Villa Park, and have learned how you're supposed to teach people how to use it. And so I think the next steps that we as a subcommittee need to take is we need to start, thinking about when we want to have an official event. So I know previously we had discussed working with ECC Junior Commissioner Ivan Figueroa, who is a student at Willowbrook, and working with them to maybe get some student volunteers to participate in this mapathon. I unfortunately haven't had a chance to have a conversation with him yet since the first of the year, but I will probably speak with him tonight if he's at our meeting at the ECC immediately after this one. So yeah, that's where things kind of stand. Yes, what's up?
Is there what are some things that you could flag on that?
Sure. So you can flag. The website is really focused on compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is making sure that people in wheelchairs and with mobility issues can navigate our community. And so you can flag like if there's a missing wheelchair ramp, if there's a missing or a damaged crosswalk, if there's you might have been walking down the sidewalk one day and you've seen where like two pavers have like become separated from one another and that becomes a tripping hazard. You can flag that sort of thing. Or you can even flag areas of the community where there is not sidewalks, period.
Yeah.
Which is an issue for ADA compliance.
What about if there's like a car that's in the sidewalk always?
Sure, yeah. So you can flag things that impede the sidewalk. So if it's using Google Street View data, so it can be a couple years old. And so it's a little hard to say from Street View whether that car is there all the time or not. But you can flag it in Project Sidewalk either way. And then normally after you've mapped out a community, there's like a second kind of like validation process where you go out into the real world and you see like, do these issues still persist? Or have they already been fixed and stuff like that? And that's where you could, notice if there's a car that's always parked blocking a sidewalk, and the village could, issue citations for that. So yeah.
And is it anonymous?
So yes, you submit data. You create an account with Project Sidewalk. You pick Villa Park as the community that you want to map, and then it just drops you into Street View, and you move around yourself. I'm sure Project Sidewalk knows which accounts have submitted what pieces of data, but like that doesn't have to be published after the data has been collected or anything like that. So yeah, Commissioner Mori?
Commissioner Mori, so I have a question. Are we eventually going to coordinate what we find from this mapping and coordinate it with the 2018 master plan, which showed a map where there's sidewalk gaps, and to can verify if that map is still accurate?
Yeah, we can. Once that data is pulled together, which is kind of far off at this point, to be honest. Once it is pulled together, we can certainly take a comparison between the conclusions that we saw in 2018 versus what the status of things are now in Project Sidewalk. I think that will, in previous meetings we've discussed having a goal as a commission of recommending to the board like crossings that we think are especially dangerous in town, And I think Project Sidewalk will help us flag those intersections with issues. But the 2018 master plan or bike pedestrian master plan from 2018 will contribute to that decision as well. Commissioner Greco, did you have?
Well, what I was going to say was, his idea is interesting. If we pull the 2018 plan out before the mapathon, it might give us some focus on like what areas we might want to start mapping first.
Sure.
So like if there was sidewalk missing in the 2018 plan,
Yeah.
let's map there first and see if it's still missing.
Yeah. I mean, my hope would be that we get enough people participating in this that we can just map the entirety of town.
It's small enough, yeah.
But if we do want to prioritize, that could be a good way to do it.
You said it's only online. Is it like an app or is it online?
Yeah, it's a website, and I can even pull it up right now. So I've got my computer here. This is not going to be the most entertaining for the audio recording, but for people that are in attendance with us.
But you can read the website name out for the people listening.
Yeah, it's sidewalk-chicago.cs.washington.edu. I don't know why it's that long,
I
but
think if you do a search on Project Sidewalk, you can
Yeah.
probably find it.
yes.
And Steve, just so you know, I'm the person taking the minutes, so that's all this typing that I'm doing is just taking the minutes of the meeting.
So this is what the website generally looks like. So you get dropped into Google Street View, and you can look around, and then you just flag curb ramps where you see one, where you don't see one, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh.
And then once you've marked off an area, it just takes you to the next Google Street View image.
Question again.
Yeah, Commissioner Moran.
Commissioner Moore again. So, just as an added point in the 2018 master plan, it's on page 13.
Mm-hmm.
There are streets on the grid that are not named, okay? So, it might be difficult to refer to the master plan unless you compare it to another map. Because I know for a fact that one of the streets that's not named has no sidewalks on either side.
Mm. Oh, you just mean that like the picture you have in the
Right,
master
but-
plan doesn't have the streets labeled.
Yeah, it has, most of the streets are named,
Okay.
but not all.
Okay. I think we could probably figure that out
Yeah.
if need be. So yeah, with all of that in mind, I was kind of thinking that I would like to kind of have this data pulled together, at least in a preliminary form, in the spring. And so I was kind of thinking of targeting an April mapathon. So that will give us, a month and change, month and a half, depending on when in April it is, to work on picking out a location and inviting people and stuff like that. The other selfish reason why I was interested in April is because it's after the election, and so I'll have some more free time to.
What's our election coming up?
Yeah, you might have heard.
Or you could be, Martin, or you could be inspecting the streets while you're canvassing, too.
I could, yeah. Steve, did you have something?
It was just kind of like a comment, like about why don't you guys like try to get it, like the Villa Park to like put on their social media, since he said it is like an app or something,
Mm-hmm.
and just like kind of promote it. Just like if you're going on a walk, you could just pull out your phone and just if you notice something, because it's not really that hard to just ask people to mark stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people walk here.
Right.
It's a very walkable neighborhood.
And there's multiple Villa Park affiliated groups, like Villa Park
Right.
Moms and things like that,
Yeah,
who
so-
are out walking all the time.
I think it's just promoting the app itself.
Yeah.
That people don't know about.
Yeah, I think there'll definitely be like a social media component of what we're doing, and I'm also hoping that like if we get enough people involved at the mapathon, even if we don't finish at the mapathon, word of mouth will kind of spread around the community, and other people will
Yeah,
contribute, a couple blocks here or there.
I think so.
So yeah. How does an April timeline sound for
Sounds
people?
good to me.
I mean, it's an evening or a few hours
Yeah.
of my time, so yeah, as long as I don't have a prior commitment,
Days are longer.
I think that'll be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open. For the next 7 weeks, my Tuesday evenings are completely shot. So, but other than that, I could probably,
My fourth Thursdays are.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking us to commit to a particular date at this point. I just
But yes, I think April is a perfectly good goal. It gives us time to promote it. It gives like the students, if they're doing it part of the club, sometimes those wheels move slowly. So yeah.
cool. All right. Well, if it's all right with the subcommittee, I will try to set up some time with Commissioner Figueroa to talk about, reaching out to Willowbrook and seeing if the environmental club might be interested. All right. Anything else on Project Sidewalk? Okay, seeing none. Let's go on to item 5B, BPT 2025 goals. So I know it has been a while since we spoke about the goals, mostly because I just unfortunately had to miss our last meeting. But I have the goal document in front of me here, and I do feel that we are making progress on these things. As I mentioned earlier, I think mapping the community with Project Sidewalk could be pretty valuable information for helping us advocate for improving a pedestrian crossing if there's one that stands out to us, and that was one of our goals for this year. Well, I guess we haven't officially adopted it, but it was one of the draft goals for this year. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm in the right
Yeah,
place.
you're in the right
Okay, thank you.
document. Yeah. So I know there have also been some updates with the Ardmore development and the grade separation projects. I unfortunately haven't been able to watch the most recent Board of Trustees meeting, but I think there was supposed to be a presentation from the developer about the grade separation or something. Has that happened?
I didn't see it I wasn't on the last week, so I didn't hear about it. Unless
Okay.
they slick it into
It's
that.
supposed to be in the future.
But it hasn't
coming.
happened yet.
No.
Okay.
It was not an agenda item for last Monday, and I missed the meeting, so I didn't see, I would have tuned it in had I seen it on the agenda.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, I think I don't know. Now that we are officially in 2025, is there like discussion that we would like to have about these goals? Do we want to? How are people feeling?
Yeah, I did not spend a lot of time on it. I did go to the public meeting last night about the village master plan and was very glad to see a lot of the things we talked about in the plan. Doesn't mean they'll happen, but they are at least in there on paper. Public comments are open for a few more weeks, so definitely, even if you don't have anything to change, encourage what's right about it. So one of our goals is to just stay on top of that and keep reminding people. So we did that last night. We showed up. We said, "Hey, this is great. Ask questions." Yeah. Made them know people care.
I'm glad to hear that you could attend that. would you mind speaking about some of the positive things that you saw in the master plan?
Well, that's relying on my memory, but yeah, there were, like the bicycle routes was very nice, all up and down Ardmore. Was either separate bike lanes or side paths.
Sure.
That was very proud, or very happy to see that. Some talk of better pace service during rush hour to the train station. They had a plan there to try to service the most number of people with the least amount of walking. What else did I see? There was a lot of, I know they definitely had the several intersections on North Avenue in St. Charles targeted for pedestrian safety improvements. That weren't specific on the details, but they were definitely in the plan.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, I think it's good for us. I mean, I think one of our primary responsibilities as a subcommittee is oversight on these things. So I think this first goal here about monitoring, these improvements to our community is one of our top goals. I think keeping to chug along on Project Sidewalk so that we can hopefully make a recommendation before this year's budget cycle about if there's a crossing in particular that we would like to improve. That's another thing that I would like us as a subcommittee to pursue.
I didn't hear the last part you said.
I think Project Sidewalk will provide us with valuable information that might inform if there's like a particular crossing that we would like to make safer for pedestrians. And one of the things we had discussed late last year was, actually making a formal request for the 2026 budget of allocating money to improve a particular intersection. And I think Project Sidewalk data might help us make that decision. So yeah.
With respect to goals, and I apologize, I don't have the document in front of me, but my recollection is that wayfaring signage was mentioned.
Yep.
And I happened to go to an event in Palos Heights, and at where the event was taking place was kind of the apex for the different bike paths in the town.
Sure.
And they had a wonderful graphic, that showed all the bike lanes. I mean, it showed all the the trails, bike lanes in town, and with notable destinations, library, village hall, etc. And I thought that would be a great thing for us to, if we had 2 or 3 of them, would be helpful to people who are traveling through town.
I know that Wayfair signage was mentioned a few times in the comprehensive plan draft that they had opened to the public last night. Both on the streets and the trails, if I recall. But double check the trails.
So that people won't get confused as much, right?
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone is like coming through town on the prairie path on their bicycle, not only do they know like major roadways, but they also know like, there's a library just a block north of here. There's restaurants off to the right. It might encourage, more business and economic development in the community. Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion of goals at this point? Okay. Then we'll go on to item 5C, the metro station. I added this to the agenda just because I knew you folks had discussed the metro station at the last meeting, and so I wanted to have a space if you wanted to continue the conversation from last month. you.
And I have not been paying attention to village board meetings. But there was a discussion about them getting a new vendor for the coffee shop. And I don't know if that's happened or not.
No, it's in discussion. I've heard.
Yeah, they were gonna give them favorable, well, I mean, they were, I mean, going back a ways, the port has kind of cut the rent at that place just to encourage someone to go in there, so.
Doesn't Union Pacific own the building?
Union Pacific owns the building, but,
There's some kind of lease agreement that.
yeah, there's a lease agreement with the village.
Okay.
Oh, that is curious.
Maybe we're, yeah. I'm not sure if we're in some fashion a lessor where we can
Yeah.
lease out the spot, because I know we have, because they talk about what the rent would be, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to hear that someone's interested in the space. I just
Maybe we're the sub-lessor, I don't know.
yeah. When you first brought this up, I was confused why it was even a really village business because the village doesn't own the property. But yeah, maybe we are effectively subletting it.
Or possibly just the management of it, like
Yeah.
something like that, some kind of management agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for cheap rent to have something in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think having a vendor in there is good enough for the village that we can afford to do it for very little rent.
Right. And to follow up, the station building has been open during the hours that it's posted. And there was an article in the Metro newsletter that they're gonna begin a program of replacing and renaming the lines and the signage. So the signs on the roof that say Villa Park have been faded for years, you can barely read them. But there's actually discussion of renaming the whole line. So it won't be the UP West line anymore, it might be something else, like the Galeno West line or something along that line. Because there's confusion with new riders, like for example, the old Milwaukee Road lines, there's two of them, were called the Milwaukee District West and Milwaukee District North. But neither line goes to Milwaukee, so it's confusing to people, who may not know the historical aspect.
So to be fair, they're gonna change the name so that everyone is confused.
Yeah, right,
Not
yeah.
just the new people.
It'll probably go back to, it'll probably be, most of the line, when you had pamphlets, they were color-coded. And I'm probably gonna adapt to the way the CTA is done, where they change their line to colors.
Yeah. I mean, the west line is easy. Ours is easy. It's the
Yeah.
west line. I mean,
But there's two west lines. Like I said, there's a Milwaukee District West line, and there's a Union Pacific West line.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I see your point.
but the program isn't even gonna start till next year, and it's not scheduled for completion until 29. And I was working when they originally Metro took over and put all their uniform signage on all the stations, and it's a big project.
Yeah.
When they think about it, there's like 11 lines, multiple stations, multiple signs per station. So.
Yeah, only thing that I have to add to this conversation is I have become much more familiar with our metro station since starting my new job, and so I have been there most mornings.
Oh, you have to go in? Oh, yeah, for a while you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any comments on it, or just your familiarity with it?
It's always been clean.
Yeah, it's mostly clean. I mean, it's not as cozy as Elmhurst is because we don't have a coffee shop,
Yes.
and we also don't have a ticket agent.
They're all coming out. Just so for the record,
Yeah.
the stations that had ticket agents, those employees are now on the platforms, monitoring the ticket sales machines where they're installed.
Yeah. but it's nice to have a warm place to stand on cold mornings, and
And there is a bathroom in there when it's open.
all right. Let's go on to item 5D. DuPage Rail Safety Council update. Commissioner Amore, do you have any updates this month?
Well, our meeting was a week ago Saturday, and we had our new DuPage County coroner there who gave a lengthy tutorial about the all the wherewithal of doing accident investigations. And there were supposed to be other coroners from other counties, so a lot of them didn't make it, so it was just her and one other. The main focus right now is that in Downers Grove, they had 2 pedestrian incidents within a few days. So we're
They
gonna be 2 pedestrian strikes
Oh my gosh.
within a week. So
Well, that
they're,
sorry, go ahead.
no, they're,
No, there's a very infamous one that's on YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're refocusing with Metra to do a safety blitz in Downers Grove. That'll be Monday morning. But it's just, these accidents are so unnecessary. You know, it's for people just not paying attention. That hasn't been ruled a suicide yet, so we don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the times when I was coming home on the train, coming out of the city, you get dropped off on the south platform normally. And I live north of the train tracks, so there was a freight line blocking Ardmore, just parked there. And so I was kind of like stuck on the south side of tracks. I stood there for about 40 minutes or so, and
Wow.
You would not believe the number of people that I saw walk
Walking through.
onto and through the parked freight line.
Oh, we'll appreciate that testimony when they have the grade separation feasibility study
Yeah.
implementation discussions.
Yeah.
So, speaking of DuPage Rail Safety Council, if you go to York High School
Yeah,
in the afternoon when students are going home, you would be mortified, because that Canadian National Line runs right there.
right.
And students use that
As a path.
as a path.
I
They're
have complained about that.
on the rail, they're walking through the intersection on the rail line.
Yeah, we have gotten the CN police out there to go to the school administration and have discussions with them, and I don't know where they're at with those. But have you seen this recently?
Oh, well.
Daily?
I know it happens all the time, because I go,
Yeah.
at one point I was going there every day.
I'm gonna have to go in there and take some video and then take it into the dean of students.
And I spoke to a faculty member and I said, they're using that as a walkway, that's completely unsafe.
Yeah,
I just remember being a kid and a teenager in my 20s, just playing on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
just-
that's just
I don't
not
know if
knowing.
it can be stopped other than completely enclosing it.
I have
I know that's sad and defeatist of me, but
I think
These
it's
are high
time to
school
take
kids.
our Parks and Recs handbook insert for parents to have the discussion with their kids and distribute it over there.
they're in high school, it's too late.
No, but I'm just saying, they still need to have that conversation. 'Cause I
Yeah.
can remember teenage kids playing chicken with the trains after they got their first driver's license.
Oh, yeah.
Parking on the tracks until the train came along and then moving at the last second. Without thinking that, hey, maybe this car might not start.
This
Maybe
time,
it might
right,
stall. Maybe the wheels could spin, So that's all I got for that.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Then the last business item we have is community outreach. Any community outreach activities that we'd like to discuss this month? Commissioner Wagner?
I'll just mention, and I apologize if I kind of jumped the gun, but I did register us, our community, for the right of silence.
Oh.
Which is Wednesday, May, I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Wednesday, May 21st
Thank you.
at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I thank you for registering us. I figured we would kind of start a serious discussion of Bike Month in March, and that's why it's not on the agenda tonight. But I appreciate you getting that started.
And then we have, I mentioned this before, the smart cycling class in May. I think it's May 12th.
Okay.
And Sue Earle, who puts together the programs, they put in the
Park
the,
District,
the Park District pamphlet.
yeah, lift.
She has a nice quote from a parent about
Great.
how valuable they thought this, how much they enjoyed and found value in the smart cycling class.
Fantastic. Any other community outreach activity? All right, then we'll move on to item 6, commissioner comments. I'll start on my left with Commissioner Greco.
Nothing particularly interesting, though the weather finally turned and I've been able to ride my bike to work again. Yay!
Glad
That's
to hear
it.
Commissioner Mori,
No comment.
Commissioner Wagner.
I'll just mention that we had our annual Illinois LCI meeting, which was held at the Active Transportation Alliance offices downtown. I couldn't make it, but I attended virtually. And they led off with a speaker from the league, and there's been some enhancements to the league's website. There is a new e-bike curriculum that you can, I think anybody can access. There's gonna be a more robust presence for LCIs. You can create a web page. You can tell about, what you offer, which are available to teach, or, your experience. And Elizabeth Adamczyk, who is local in the Chicago area, she's now a LCI coach, so she can do LCI training.
Fantastic.
Larry Mize used to do that, but Larry he's not doing it anymore.
So who was the woman you mentioned? And does she live in Villa Park?
No,
Yeah.
she doesn't live in Villa Park. She used to live in Des Plaines, but she moved to the south side. But we've got somebody in the area that can do training, so that's important.
Would you mind repeating her name?
Yeah, it's Elizabeth Adamczyk, and that's spelled Adamczyk. And if you go to the league website, you can put in a zip code, you can find, if there's an LCI in the community.
That's great. So do you show up on that website?
I haven't checked yet. I checked my membership and my LCI certification is still in force. So I should be there.
Should be on there.
I should be there.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Bob. Anything else?
No.
Okay. I have no comments this evening, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
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 All right. We're going to adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:45 p.m.
How would